Morning, everyone. It's 8:40 on Thursday, and since it's Thursday, it's claims day. And the news was good. Um, I'm not sure I understand why, but there were still 840,000 initial claims. So that's the sixth week under a million. But 840 is an unusually high number of initial claims on a sustained basis. Continuing claims came down almost a million. Continuing is 10,700 and pardon me, 10,976,000. So that also somewhat puzzles me why we could have an increase of 840,000 claims and still continuing claims falls. Okay, oil is up. That's the chart on the screen, and it was up ahead of the storm Delta, which I guess is ready to hit the U.S. in the Gulf again. J.P. Morgan is committed $30 billion to help fix the wealth gap. I have no idea how that even works, but it's a fair size chunk of money to be helping. The debates are going to continue between the president and VP Biden, but they're going to continue on a virtual basis. IBM in the news, very unusual, major beat in earnings. Revenues about in line, and the stock is trading up at 134, up almost 10%. So that's pretty impressive. The futures, though, have moved down since the 8:30 release of those numbers. Before, the Dow had an implied open of 255 up. Currently, it's 186. The NASDAQ was 67, and it's still about 67. And S&P was 28, and that seems to be holding in the same place. I'm going to guess that a big chunk of the Dow was the IBM, and it's sold off a couple of dollars. But I wouldn't be surprised to see us climb back to the plus 200 or 225 before the open. Morgan Stanley buys Eaton Vance, which is another asset management firm. They're paying $7 billion for it. It's cash and stock. And the stock of Eaton Vance is 59, up about 18, and Morgan Stanley is down about $2. There was a headline this morning saying that 40 airlines have already failed this year. I'm assuming that since we don't really see it on a day-by-day basis, they're little puddle jumper commuter airlines, and but still 40% of them have failed. 40 of them have failed, and frankly, as I have repeatedly said, I think some of the big ones are going to fail, and I don't think that anybody in that business is going to give up an advantage that they have from failing. Companies that airlines especially that would go through bankruptcy and diminish the amount of debt that they hold is kind of an unfair advantage. It reminds me a great deal of the contrast of General Motors and Ford. Ford was very proud to not file when GM did, and as a result, GM got rid of a whole bunch of negative stuff like unfunded pensions and debt, and Ford has been at a competitive disadvantage ever since. DPZ, Domino's, a miss. They didn't miss. Revenues were actually up, but earnings were pretty much a pretty big miss. 249 versus 279 expected. When they had the headline with the revenue number first, the stock shot up to 442 and a half, but then came straight back down to 405. The last that I've seen on it is 413 or 412 in that general area, down 18% or about 19 or $20. Lilly got a big boost yesterday. As you probably noticed, I didn't do a closing comment because I didn't have internet or power. But Lilly is filing for emergency use, as is Regeneron. And the president mentioned Regeneron yesterday, and the stock shot up. It's currently trading at 617.90, up 26.21 on that filing of emergency. Okay, so we've seen the oil. It's back up into this resistance area. Not sure whether it'll make it through or not. But from my perspective, one of the more important charts is the bonds. We were short bonds and long interest rates with our TBT trade that we closed out. But as you can see, we closed it out here 2 days ago on that reversal that we were looking for. We got that, and then yesterday we came back down. What's interesting is that this morning it's also up a little. The bonds are up a little, coming off this tiny little bit of support that we have that goes all the way back here to August, and back into this range, which was just in June. I'm still leaning on the bonds going lower, but I can't short them here because I would have no place to stop them out. If they were up here at 175 and a quarter or so, that would be one thing. But down here at 174 and change, not so much. So we'll have to see how that one bounces. The dollar is about unchanged. The gold and the silver are both higher. Gold is up 1170, silver up 23. We may play in that market today or tomorrow, but as you can see, we have a pretty good stop area down here at 1876 or so. Yesterday was a narrow range J, as is this morning, and both of them still below this downtrend line. So a lot of markets in flux, and as you know, we don't have to compete with anyone, so standing aside and waiting for something to develop is definitely the easier way for us to trade. We are still long CVS. It's up a little this morning. It was up over $1 yesterday. I think up $1.40. And frankly, I was not happy with the sell-off from just under 60 to just over 59. But as long as we had a $2 range in the stock for the day and we closed 2/3 on the excuse me, up end of that range is just fine with me. I'd rather see it back and fill like this than see it run straight up and turn around and fall straight back down. Okay, so the Dow is now up about 185, so seems to be holding in that area. Okay, folks, don't forget to subscribe to the YouTube channel. It costs nothing, and we really appreciate it. Have a good one.